This is Boxes and Briefs, a podcast with real-life business stories. But we will be asking the hard questions and challenging traditions. So broaden your thinking with fresh perspectives and solve problems for business success. Welcome to another episode of Boxes and Briefs. My name's Lisa.
I'm Kelly.
And today we have with us Miranda Knapton. Hello.
Hello, Lisa. Hello, Kelly. How are you?
We're good. We're boxer birds.
Excellent.
So Miranda is the president of BNI New Zealand, which is a nationwide organisation to help members grow their businesses through referrals and word-of-mouth marketing, which I have to admit, as a marketer, is the best form of marketing is word of mouth. If somebody else says it's good, it's good.
100%, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell me about yourself. How did you end up at BNI, being the president in New Zealand?
Yeah, that's a great question there, Lisa. I started my BNI journey about 8.5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
My husband and I ran a construction company in Christchurch, and so I became the builder in the chapter. After 2 years, I loved BNI. I just saw the value in it, not only for my own business, but being surrounded by all these amazing business owners every week, listening to them and, evolving my own business. And I decided to become a director consultant, which is a person who supports chapters. They also grow chapters, and I launched chapters. I arranged events, and I was also lucky enough to become a mentor and mentor other director consultants as well.
Okay, what's a chapter?
A chapter, yeah, great question. A chapter is a group of professionals, and there's only one professional person per classification in that group.
So one builder, one plumber, one accountant.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And they meet every single week, same bat time, same bat station, usually over breakfast, but not always. There's 9 o'clock chapters, midday chapters, and evening chapters as well across the country. So I just had the amazing support from my own chapter, and I loved the model and the way that I saw success being generated for everyone. And I was lucky enough to be in a position just over 12 months ago where my predecessor, Graham Southwell, stepped away from being the national director, and I went for the role. And really, Lisa, 12 months on, it is the dream job that I didn't know that I could get, or it was in my life, really. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
mixing the happiness with the business.
Absolutely. If I could tell 15-year-old Miranda that she didn't have to worry about what subject she was choosing for the last 2 years of school.
I think a lot of people need to hear that, really.
If professional networker was on that list of jobs that I was choosing back then, everything would have been all right.
Yeah. Well, I think when you say networking to a lot of business people, they think of things like connecting on LinkedIn or going to a meeting and getting a bunch of business cards. What does that actually mean?
Yeah, networking, that is networking. There's, all sorts of networking. We talk about 5 types. There's casual contact, where you'll go to a PTA meeting, you might go to a Chamber of Commerce. They're all casual contact networking. You might be part of an association like Zonta or Rotary or Lions. That's another form of networking. There's your associations, your trade associations, Master Builder, Franchise Association New Zealand. Again, that's networking. And LinkedIn and Facebook and social media, that's all networking.
Yeah, the different community groups.
The problem with all of them, though, is that, pretend I'm a plumber. All of my competitors can be at those forms of networking.
Yes.
Okay? Can't they? Doing the same thing, trying to generate and create the same relationships. The difference with BNI and networking that we talk about is there's usually only one professional in what we call hard contact networking, where you've created that group, that chapter we just talked about.
Yeah.
And you're starting a relationship with these people. You're not starting a transaction with them. You start by getting to know them. You start by getting to understand them as a human, them as their business, why they got into what they do, and really leading to, what makes them the expert in that room at that time. So there is a difference. There's a space for all of the networking. But as a director consultant said to me a couple of weeks ago, she said, "Are you looking for a coffee club, or are you looking to grow your business?" And she defines that with BNI. And there's definitely rooms for coffee clubs. Absolutely. Some people need that kind of long runway to get to BNI. And that's absolutely fine.
Absolutely fine. I must confess, I'm a BNI member. I have drunk the jungle juice. I'm a believer. And I think that in BNI you can have the coffee group and grow your business.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think it's all in one.
Definitely. I think some of the most successful members, most success I've had and the most successful members that I've seen have both.
Yeah.
You know, they have genuine relationships with the people that they network with, and they know how to form genuine relationships outside of their chapter, outside of BNI, that then help their business grow.
Yes.
So they know how to do the transacting, but they don't start with a transaction.
Yep.
Yeah.
They start with the humanity.
So let's go past the transactions then. Tell me a story, because we love stories.
Oh, we like stories.
All about how some kind of connection turned into something big. Like, is there a member you know of, something that happened yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. I had one story in my head and it just flew out, so I'm going to use another story.
Love that.
When I became a director consultant,
Yes.
so supporting other chapters, I met all of my presidents first. There was 3 of them, and one of the presidents and myself worked out that we were the male and female version of each other. We got along very, very well, and he was in the chapter for probably about 18 months after I started. His business grew. He stepped out, put a team member in, and probably a good year to 2 years after that, he called me one day and said, Miranda, I'm looking to buy a section and we're going to build a house on it, and you are the only builder that we're talking to. Now, I had never talked about my business to him. I respected the other builder in the chapter. I respected that relationship that they had or didn't have, or whatever that was. And I never mentioned Blue Summit Construction to him at all.
Okay.
And at the time, that was the highest dollar value contract that Blue Summit had ever signed.
Wow.
And that
all
was
from just
that was
rubbing shoulders.
Absolutely. That was just from being genuine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Showing your
up.
authentic self.
Absolutely. Showing up as a human and asking him how he was, what was going on, how could I help,
Yeah.
you know, all of those normal, natural things that I knew how to do because I'd been a member for a couple of years before I started as a director consultant.
Yep.
So I started with the human first, and he remembered that stuck with him.
Yeah.
And so there was a really high trust level straight away. So
How do you think that relationship, building that trust and just asking in personal life, how are you going, translates into the business relationship? Because obviously after that, I wouldn't say relationship change, but obviously it's now got a different element because you are working together. How would you say that kind of translates across?
yeah, how that evolves.
Yeah.
Look, it's not a tough one because that's where I start.
Yeah.
I knew that he had children and they're a little bit younger than mine, you know, but we were going through similar things, you know, finding schools and, you know, it's become a teenager now and, you know, so, you know.
Yes.
You know, so we had those normal human connections. I knew his wife was a travel agent, and so going through COVID was a little bit tough, and so we talked about those things. And so then when we're talking about building the house, we'd already created this, pardon the pun, foundation of a relationship. Now, that was based on humanity.
Yeah.
And it was able to evolve into business.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because what he did is so awesome as well, we then were able as a business to transact with him and use him. We still use him. My husband was on the phone to him the other day to do another transaction. But it's literally a call, hey, we need the thing, can you do the thing? And yes, no worries, we'll get that done.
Yeah.
And because we started with that good, solid relationship of knowing who that human is,
Yeah.
rather than, you're thinking of building a house? Oh, cool, you need to talk to me. No, I'm the one.
Yeah.
I never said that. I never started with that. I started with humanity.
Yeah, and that creates that level of trust as well. You just know that person's going to take care of you because you've already got that relationship.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And look, his wife didn't know me, and he didn't know my husband. So there was a whole other, and my husband's the builder. Like, I never put on the tool belt, you know, much to his disgust, I think, while I was in the business. But being that we trusted each other so much and we had a good, solid understanding of who each other were, then it just came in very naturally.
Yeah.
And the 4 of us worked together very, very well. And in the end, I stepped away from the building project, not because I got this job, but because that's where my part of the transaction finished. You know, my husband led everything that was on site, and the trust and confidence it just remained. It just stayed there because we started with that foundation of human.
How awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It is. So talking about the humanity and the authenticity, a lot of people will turn up to a networking event and they'll find it unauthentic. It's, hi, my name is blah and I do blah. And it's very overwhelming. There's a lot of people can be in the room.
Yeah.
What's your advice on the process to get to that humanity?
Absolutely. I have a couple of tips here, Lisa, and one of them is go in with a goal. So what do you think is going to be a good return on your investment of time into this meeting? You might be able to do a bit of research ahead of time. So with BNI, we have all of our chapters listed on our website, bni.co.nz, and so you can see literally all of the names and all of the professions and the companies they work for. But if it's another networking event, often if it's something you've seen on social media.
Chamber of Commerce.
There'll be a list available. So do some research ahead of time. See who's going to be there.
Yeah.
And that can create a little bit of comfort. You're like, oh, Bob's probably going to be there and I know Bob, or we went to the thing together and I've met him before. So try and create a little bit of comfort with going there. Work out where you're going. Do you know the building? Do you know where you're parking? Have you got business cards ready? And then the next thing I would say is make sure you have something memorable that you're going to say. And by that, I mean, don't ram your product down someone's throat when they say, hi, what do you do? Oh, and you should buy, and I do the thing, and, I'm the, we talk about...
Networking isn't about sales, really.
No, it's about connecting.
Yeah.
Right? It's about starting that relationship. So, get people interested in what you're doing. Tell them why you do what you do first.
Yeah.
It might be to make people's lives easier, help businesses, find the success that they want. Light up people's lives. Oh, how do you do that? I'm an electrician.
Yes.
Find something a little bit
memorable.
Something memorable, absolutely. And practice that beforehand. I'm the sort of person can talk under 20 foot of water with a mouthful of lead cement, so I don't, but I know not everyone's like that.
Yeah.
So stand in the mirror and practice these words ahead of time. Create the comfort that you can find in being there. And then when you're there, just respect the conversation that you're in. Like I've definitely been to networking events, you possibly have as well, Lisa, where you're literally having business cards thrown at you by some guy or girl who is like literally just trying to get to every person in the room.
Yep.
And that business card means nothing to me because there is nothing attached to that that I had an interaction with. So I often go in now with a mindset of, 5 connections. If I make 5 good connections, then this has been a success for me.
Yep. I think some people go in with just the goal of don't stutter. Pretend I'm confident and just do it.
Look,
like that might be the first time.
Honestly, Lisa, sometimes it might be, get dressed, go to this thing, hold my shoulders up, put a semi-smile on my face, don't worry about that sick feeling in my stomach, and get through this hour and a half.
Yep.
And if that's the goal, and you get to the other side of that, that's fantastic. You've done it. You've achieved that goal, and that's okay. And next time, you might be able to talk to someone.
Yep.
And that's okay too. But I tell you, usually at some sort of social event or networking event of some description, if you're standing by yourself, someone will find you.
Yeah.
And they will talk to you, and that is the person that's probably meant to talk to you that night.
Yes.
I have a friend. She's a very good friend. She's a very good networker. And she asked me to go to this event with her a couple of years ago, and I just couldn't make it. And she said, I don't want to go. I said, you've bought the ticket, just go to the thing. And she said, I stood at the back and I thought, no, I'm just going to be miserable. I'm going to listen to the speakers and then I'm going to walk out. I'm done. And she said, and I had the best conversation with 2 people because they were feeling exactly the same and they were finding the back wall as well to hide in. And she said, and now I'm going to meet up with them for coffee next week. Oh. She said, I didn't want to go. And I knew she was messaging me. I was literally talking it into going.
Yeah.
And it was an awesome experience for her. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Well, we've got the tips. Now I want to hear things that people shouldn't do. Like we've heard, you shouldn't go to an event and just hand out business cards.
No salesy.
Yes. What are the other things that are the should nots?
Well, we talk about the networking disconnect. And the disconnect is a couple of things. And one is, people, if you walk into a networking room and everyone is selling, who's buying?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a disconnect. Don't look at a networking event as a sales event. You have trade shows for those sorts of things. You have other platforms and spaces, client meetings for sales. It's not sales at a networking event.
Yep.
It's trying to create those connections. Throwing the business cards out across the room, being the loudest person in the room. They don't work either.
Yep.
And I really think that just being as authentically yourself as you can.
Yep.
And even if it is, we all wear different hats in life in terms of mothers, fathers, business owners, tradespeople, student, all of those sorts of things. Put one hat on if that's all you can wear that night. If you can only be the Sparky walking in the room, or if you can only be the dad walking in the room, that's okay.
Yep.
Whichever one you're most comfortable with at that time. It's not a problem.
I like that. Find the comfort zone that you're happy with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Boxes and Briefs is proudly brought to you by Gilligan Shepherd, the problem solvers in business.
Okay, Miranda, story time again.
Yay.
Can you share a time when networking helped you solve a business problem, not just get a new client?
Me, I like that. Thank you. I have a very good answer there. Let me tell you a story. We'll call her Miranda because that's her name. Yes, it's me. I'm not talking about myself in the third person. I joined BNI as the builder. And not everyone buys a house every day or a significant renovation and extension every day. You don't pop out at lunchtime and buy one. So I was told by a guy who'd been in BNI for about 3 years at the time. He said, the higher the value, the trust, or the higher the dollar value, the longer it can take to receive a referral, a full referral that you're looking for. He said, not always, but that's my advice. So I went, okay, that's great. I'm just going to settle in here 2 years. Right, let's go. Now, during that, it took me 18 months to get my first full referral in BNI. I had to change my tact a little bit, had to speak deliberately and specifically about what people in the room wanted to hear. That's another story though. But that first 18 months, I wouldn't trade for all the tea in China, Lisa, because what I was able to do was listen to these amazing professionals about how they dealt with their challenges in their businesses, whether it was team, whether it was clients, whether it was a marketing process, whether it was a system or a website or a merchandise stock, machinery, all of those sorts of things. And I was able to listen and just evolve our business as we needed to. And basically, I wasn't the numbers person. I'm not a natural numbers person. So I wasn't there doing the accounts in the background. I was front and centre helping turn this business from the man, the van and the dog, without the dog, to the multi-million-dollar award-winning business that it is today.
Wow.
So, and that first 18 months was integral to really understanding that, because I wasn't focused on trying to get the referral, trying to worry about the work.
Yeah.
I was focused on how can I understand these people better to help them get referrals, really. That was my focus. BNI's primary core value is givers gain. And so I was able to give a lot of business during that time, but also take so many of those lessons and stories and evolutions and put them into our business.
Yep.
Yeah, solved a lot of problems
Yeah.
that sometimes I didn't even know that we had.
Yeah, I think I like it how there's so many different industries represented in one chapter that it equips me with information of what's going on in the industry for clients, because we service all kinds of clients in different industries. And so when you've got that little bit of knowledge of what's actually going on, makes you look better.
Absolutely. And I think, look, I love sport. I come from a sporting background, and so that love of sport, that competition, that competitiveness, an athlete is an athlete is an athlete, right? And the ball is interchangeable, or the field is interchangeable.
Yep.
And I think business is the same, Lisa. I see it like sport. Every business has the parameters, it has the rules, the hard rules, but it's what you do on the field with that talent that you have as that professional to how you play that game, right? And so knowing more about different games, if you will, marketing game, the accounting game, the real estate game, the more I know about those different games, the more I can go, I kind of like how they play that over there. I'm going to bring that into my game.
Yep.
Because business is business is business is business.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. So for the introverts who are the ones struggling with networking, what's the one piece of advice that you could offer that might just change their perspective about giving it a go?
Lisa, this is the question that I've been dancing around because I have learnt the most about networking and how to do it well from my introverted colleagues, much more than any extrovert like myself, because they approach it differently, because they look at when they're in and they're networking, they respect themselves in there and don't try to be someone else. So I have, there's a wonderful woman, Kate Gibson from Valuation Partners, and Kate said to me, Miranda, she said, I am an introvert and I could not have joined BNI unless I visited 3 or 4 times. And she said, by the time the 4th time came around, she said, I knew it was going to be the same every week. There was going to be the same format, the same structure, similar people, and I could interchange the bits that I needed to, so different weekly presentation, different feature presentation, different visitors in the room. That was enough of a difference without it being too the same to not scare me off. So I was able to really create some comfort in continuing to come back.
Right.
What I also know from Kate, my husband's also more introverted than myself. Thank goodness we couldn't have 2 of this in a relationship. But what he has is quality conversations. He's not interested in circling the whole room. He's not interested in getting his business card out to everyone. He'll come away having 2 or 3 really good conversations with people in an evening, and he's had a great night. I can learn a lot from that. You know, I no longer try and get around the whole room or think, I can't go to that, it's 100 people and I don't have the energy to talk to 100 people tonight. I don't need to.
No.
So, you know, my introverted friends, colleagues, associates, friends I haven't met yet, find a space that can create comfort for you. And maybe that's BNI. I live by the mantra, the first one, worst one. So the first one's never going to be the most fun, but what you can do is learn from that and create a little bit of a pattern, a little bit of a habit. And again, go in with those tips that I said. Go in with the goal. Do a little bit of research ahead of time. And if you can only, you know, mumble your name and your profession and your business name, that's okay. You know,
it is.
That's okay. There's a lot of forgiving people out there networking.
They've all been to a first meeting for the first time
Everyone
before.
has always done a first meeting. Absolutely. And specifically BNI chapters, they are so often a safe space because someone's been there before you and they're happy to, you know, help you out, give you a word, little thumbs up. It's okay. You're right. You're doing fine. You can eat your eggs now.
Well, so, then how do you, because you must do so much networking. I know that you do a lot of travel. There was a global convention. There's all kinds of conferences, visiting chapters, chapters that get together to do bigger events. How does anybody, any normal person, figure out which ones to go to? Because time you don't get back.
Absolutely.
So where's the quality networking?
That's really good. Oh, it's a BNI, Lisa. It really is just a BNI. Look, the quality is where you find it. Like I say, every human is different. So what is it that you need at that point of your life? Are you looking for a social club?
Coffee group?
Are you looking for a coffee? Yeah, absolutely. Is that what you need right now? Is it business that you're looking for specifically? Then I would say BNI is what you're looking for. And then invest in the people that you can find the most comfort with. When I first approached BNI, there was 2 chapters that I could have joined in Christchurch because neither of them had a builder in them. And I really chose, my criteria became, who can I talk to at 7 a.m. every week? Like pretty foundational, right? Not who.
A bad criteria to go by.
Not who's going to give me the most business. Not who's going to, And by the time I got we received referrals from the business. The chapter had evolved by then. We were in a different venue. There were different people in there, so I couldn't make that judgment based on that. In terms of where to network and where to invest your time, I would say be open. You know,
Yeah.
I recently went to the global convention. This is my little BNI global convention hibiscus, I think it is. Yes.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. And one of our director consultants, Jeff Brokenshire, came along. Now, Jeff is he owns a business, Rangariri Consultants, and Jeff was looking for an international conference. He's a man in his late 60s, I believe, and he wanted to go to an international conference. So he was looking for something in the health and safety space. He has a chemistry background, so he's looking for something in that. And then when the Hawaii convention came up, he went, I think I found it. I think I found it. So he went home and told his wife, and she said, you're not going alone. So
of course,
they
They
made a fantastic holiday, and they both came along, and within 3 hours, Jeff's eyes were like saucers. His mind was blown, and he still had 3.5 days to go. And he said, I could never, ever have thought that I would get anything out of something like this. That at my age, you know, and in my profession, the fact that I'm New Zealand focused, he said, I just couldn't believe that personal and professional development would be the thing that would be top of my agenda, top of my bucket list here.
Yeah.
And so watching that evolve for Jeff, and now is super excited about so many things, so many facets of BNI that are different to me. We had a similar experience. We were there at the same convention, but with 1,800 people, you're going to have a different experience each time.
Yeah.
So I would say find the thing that is going to test you and stretch you, and if that is going to your local PTA meeting, then go to that. Start there.
Yep.
If that is going, I actually want to blow my socks off, find an international conference, find an international convention, find something that is going to stretch you. You know, we all know that growth is not inside your comfort zone, right?
No.
You've got to get yourself really uncomfortable.
So find a stretch, get comfortable with the stretch.
Yeah.
Be open to what could happen.
Absolutely. A few years ago, Lisa, actually the year I joined BNI, I had the year of yes.
Oh, that's a dangerous year.
Now, I'm not very good at saying no anyway, but I had the year of yes, because one thing we do in BNI is we have one-to-ones, which is we have our 90-minute meeting each week, and really that's kind of the reporting on the networking that you're doing and the continued education of your extended sales team. But you have these one-to-one meetings. So you and I, Lisa, would have a one-to-one, and I would learn about your business and you would learn about mine, so we could refer each other better, use each other, work together, whatever that became. And this was a weird foreign concept to me, you know, when some man walked up to me and said, would you like to have a one-to-one meeting? I was like, wow, this is a bit, okay, yes, sure. And so that just became my motto for the year, my theme for the year. Right, yes, let's just say yes and see where it goes. And that was great because it meant that I met so many people that I may not have taken the time to get to know if I had have been in my previous mindset of, I don't know, I don't do these one-to-one
You're a
meetings.
stranger. Why would
you're
I
a
be in a cafe alone with you?
stranger danger. So really just saying yes. You know, that was the year of yes, and the year after I had deeper, not wider. So I'd gone wide and said yes to everything, and then the year after I doubled down on those that I had the best synergies with and stopped trying to expand the network significantly and really went deeper in those business relationships with the people that, you know, I'd met the year before from saying yes. Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Any last piece of advice or words of wisdom you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Words of wisdom. I don't think I'm old enough, darling, for wisdom just yet. Look, like I say, networking is the best to start doing right now.
Yeah.
You know, if you didn't start 20 years ago, start right now.
Yep.
Start with where is just ever so slightly uncomfortable for you. Maybe it's a little bit of a stretch. Maybe it's a huge stretch. And most roads lead to BNI if it is business growth that you're looking for. We have over 130 chapters from Kerikeri to Invercargill. If there's not a chapter in your town, please get in touch with me and we will put one there. We have a network just under 3,000 members across New Zealand. We have over 330,000 members across the world in 77 countries. and we're expanding and we're
Yes.
growing. And
how much business was it this year?
yeah, so last year in 2023, the network itself, all the members closed over $116 million worth of closed business with referrals that they pass between each other. Already to date, as of a couple of weeks ago, we were over $140 million worth of business closed.
It's a lot of business.
That is a lot of business.
So be the plumber in the room to get that business.
Be the plumber in the room, absolutely. And globally, we've closed, I can't quote you right now, I know they've just recently updated, I think it's around $23 billion.
Yeah.
That's more than half the countries in the world GDP.
Yep.
So BNI really does know how to transact and convert your networking investment into business. So if that's what you're looking for.
Yes. Convert your investment. I like that one. Okay, so if they want to know how to set up a chapter, how to join anything, contact you to talk about stuff.
Absolutely.
How do they do that?
Thank you. They would start with bni.co.nz.
Yep.
And if they wanted to connect with me, please connect with me on LinkedIn, Miranda Knapton on LinkedIn, or Facebook. I've got a BNI Facebook page and very busy on there, and would love to connect with anyone who's interested in learning more about BNI.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated.
No worries. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Kelly. It's been a fantastic conversation.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, no worries.
Boxes and Briefs is proudly brought to you by Gilligan Shepherd, the problem solvers in business.